Okay. So what is business analysis? So business analysis is nothing but whatever the organization or any company that their actual core domain, on what basis their organization is working and on what basis they are functioning. Say, for example, let us take a MRF tire manufacturing company. So what is their business is? So to uh, prepare the tires for all the vehicles with different type of materials, rubber materials that they are using, and then that is their core business. So the MRF business is nothing but uh, what we can say, manufacturing the tires. So that is called as the core business value of the MRF organization. So we need to understand what exactly say when I say like particular business, if it is related to MRF or any other company. I've just taken an example as an MRF. So if you take any of the company, so what exactly their business is, what they are doing, what is the core value of their business. So you need to understand the first initial step. The easy way that I can able to say is like whenever you are getting any interview calls, so you will get the job description, right? You will get the job description along with the company link. So you will go to the company website and you will see what is the company about. I mean, the company that what you got the interview call. So you will see what is this company about, what is their mission, what is their values, and what are their products. So that is a brief way of understanding. Here you are understanding the business of the company for which you are going to attend the interview. The similar way, you are going to understand the business for which you are going to prepare the business requirements. So here you can see in order to understand the definition of a business analysis, so it is the set of tasks and techniques which we are going to work as a liaison among the stakeholders in order to understand the structure, the company policies and the operations of an organization to recommend the solutions that enable the organization to achieve its goals. So here the first point itself, it is indicating that we are going to conduct the business analysis. Conduct the business analysis is nothing but if you when you are going to understand the client business, so you are going to implement a set of techniques that we are going to see in our next session. So where you will be working as a liaison is nothing but you will be working as a bridge between these stakeholders, which we are calling it as a client or stakeholders, in order to understand the company policies and then what are their operations and then what are the recommended, what are their expectations that for them, and then what are the recommended solutions that we need to provide in order to achieve their goals. Say, for example, in our scenario, we have considered this MRF company as one of the organizations. So here you need to understand what exactly the company, the organization of the MRF is. So is it manufacturing the only tires or any other products that the MRF is capable of? And then what is the structure is nothing but the base structure, like how many companies does the MRF is having and what are the different branches they are having, and then they are having the manufacturing units, and then we need to also understand like what is their sales turnover for every month or for every quarter, and that is nothing but the understanding the client organization is nothing but understanding the client business. So this is nothing but all the tasks or activities that you are performed till now in order to understand what is the client business is called as the business analysis. And the person who is going to perform this business analysis or who is going to conduct this business analysis is called as a business analyst. So business analyst is the person who is going to understand what is my client business, and then what are its operations, and then what are the software or the products that the client is having, and then what is his achievement, I mean what the organization is trying to achieve. Because when the MRF or any of the client comes to you, so there might be a requirement for them in order to reach a certain goal. say for example, if they want to increase their sales turnover for the next upcoming year 2026 to 2027, so they want to add some additional new features to the tires they are manufacturing, or they want to add some additional lubricants to manufacture that tires. So this is the what is the step that is the business is going to take in the year of 2026 in order to improve their sales. So now how you are going to help the MRF organization that they are going their goal is to increase their sales. So now you need to understand here the requirement of the client is they want to increase their sales by the year of 2026, and where they are introducing some new tires or some new equipments. So for that we are going to design a software or a product where the client can able to see what is his revenue at the sales turnover or the company's revenue till now, and then how they are going to improve in the year of 2026, where by adding some new uh, what you can say new type of tires, or a new type of lubricants, or new type of equipments that they are going to use to manufacture the tires. So these are nothing but the scope of the business. So the scope of the business here is like they want to increase the sales of the turnover for the year of 2026 to 2027. So that is the business scope, or we can also say it as that is the requirement from the client. So now the business analysis, where we are going to understand what is the current state of an organization, where you will be identifying what is exactly the client need is, and how you are going to implement that particular, or how you are going to achieve that need by implementing the business needs and the objectives of that solution. So that is about the business analysis. So now if you see here, what will be the business analysis role? The analysis role is nothing but here you can see when I say like the business analysis role, the person who is performing the business analysis role is called as a business analyst. So now in our business analyst role, so we will be having all these six different phases. The first phase is define and scope business area, and then the second one is the elicit requirements, and then the third is analyze and document requirements. Fourth is the communicate requirements, and then identify the solution. And finally, conclusion will be verify whether the solution meets the requirements or not. So if you see this particular cycle of the six different phases of the business analyst role here, the first starts with the define and scope business area. So just now we discussed in our example of the MRF company. So they defined their scope as they want to increase the sales of their turnover from the year of 2026, where they had some limitations like they are introducing some new flavors to the tires, or they're introducing some new versions. So that is the scope of the business. So now you got the scope of the business here. I mean, we can say it like the scope of the project that you are going to work. So now the second will be elicit requirements. So in order to increase the sales revenue of the business for the year of 2026 to 2027, then what are the different things that we need to consider here? In order to improve the sales, you need to put some you need to take some additional or the prerequisites like increasing the I mean, when you are starting some new versions or new variants of the product, so you might be also need a new equipment. So here in our elicit requirements or in the requirements phase, so we are taking the requirements that the first one is in order to improve the sales, we need to have the new equipment to design the new version or the new variants of the tires. And the second one is we need to have the budget allocated to purchase those new equipment. So that is the second requirement. And now the third requirement is we need to have the people are capable to work on that new equipment. That is the machinery that what we are going to launch in the year of 2026. We need a people who already have the experience on working on these particular missions. So the third requirement is the manpower. And then the fourth one, coming to the fourth requirement here is, so in order to implement, introduce this new equipments, so whatever the current MRF warehouses or the manufacturing units, do we have enough space to add these new machineries or to develop the new variants of the tires using this new machinery? So if you say like if you don't have the space, then we need to check for the alternative, whether we need to uh, take a rental space where the new machinery is going to fit into that space, or if we already have a space in the existing store warehouse or in the existing manufacturing unit, so we need to say what where exactly the machinery is going to fit. So now if you see in the particular second phase in the illicit requirements phase, we have gathered around four requirements, which is at the high level. So we didn't went in detail about opening the MRF company website, or you didn't get any documents related to the MRF company, and you didn't get any information about what is the current revenue of the MRF organization and what is the revenue that they want to increase in the year of 2026 to 2027, and what are the new machineries or the new equipment that they are going to introduce in the year. And you don't have any idea about what are the new variants of their tires that they are going to develop with the new equipment in the year of 2026. So you don't have any of this information. You just have the basic scope defined at the from the client is they want to increase the sales revenue for the certain by introducing some new equipments and by developing or by manufacturing some new variants of the tires in the year of 2026 and 2027. But you didn't get any specifications about what type of equipment that they are going to introduce, and then what type of variants that they are going to develop for the tires. So we don't have any of this information, but with the basic requirement that what is we have categorized, or we got the requirements that is around four high level requirements, so that you derived those requirements by looking or by understanding at the scope of the business. So that is called as the elicit requirement phase. So is it clear till now? Okay, so now in the analyze and document requirements, here in the elicit requirement phase, you got four types of requirements here. The first requirement is like what is the sales turnover, the figure of the sales turnover that they want to increase in the year of 2026. So that is the first requirement. And for the second requirement is like what are the new equipments or new machineries that they are going to introduce. So and the third one is like what are the new variants that they are going to implement, develop for their tires. And the fourth one is uh, the space or the store space for the existing where you call as the manufacturing units in order to implement or in order to introduce this new machinery. And the fifth one is like manpower, or we can also say like the resources required for the to develop those new variants of the tires using the new equipment. So for those five requirements here, we are going to analyze like what type of revenue that they are expecting. That's so first point we discussed about that we need to have the sales revenue to be increased. So now you need to understand you need to analyze on that particular point. Like so they want to increase the sales, right? So on what way they are expecting the sales to be increased. So whether they want to have a sales increase at 10% in the first quarter, and then 15% in the second quarter, and 30% in the third quarter, and then 40% in the entire financial year. So we need to understand, or you need when you need to analyze that information, and you need to ask the client like, so we have the three different quarters here. So what is your expectation of increase in the sales in the quarter one? And what is your expectation that you are going to increase your sales in the quarter two? So you need to analyze that particular requirement, and you need to ask the questions to the client to get the confirmation or to get the answers or to get the information that what you have priced on that particular requirement. So once you get that once they get that information, so we are going to draft the documentation, or we are going to document those requirements by using some particular documentation template. So now you have documented the requirements. So now the next phase is you have documented about the requirements for the client, and you got the sign off for the document. And now once the requirements document is get signed up, then you are going to communicate the requirements. So we need a people who are going to work on this particular requirements. It's nothing but who are going to put those requirements into implementation phase. So that is nothing but our development team and the QA team. So now we need to communicate that whatever the requirements that you have documented in this particular phase to the development and the QA team. So now the development and the QA team, they will develop certain functionality in order to fulfill the requirement that what you have documented here. So that is nothing but identifying the solution here. So once they have completed the development of a particular requirement, then we need to verify whether the solution that what I mean solution is nothing but the development, what the development team has done. So we are going to validate it according to as per the requirement that you have documented. So you are going to validate here. So this is the requirement that I have documented in the BRD document. So now the development team has taken this, and then they have developed the functionality, and they said they have completed the functionality and they released it for validating. So now here, the QA team will come into the picture where they are going to test the solution that what the development team has developed as per the requirements that has been mentioned in the requirement document. So based on the requirement that what we have documented in this particular phase, now the testing team is going to derive or prepare their test cases. So what are the test scenarios that I need to test to the particular solution that the development team is providing to us? So this is the entire business analysis life cycle. We can say it as a life cycle of a business analysis where the business analyst is going to work on all these 6 phases. So the business analyst will work in the picture of first one is the communicating with the client and understanding the scope of the project, where you can say like defining the scope of the project, and he is involved in getting the requirements, and he is involved in the analyze and documents requirement phase, where whatever the requirements that he captured from the client, he is going to document the same in the particular documentation template that what the organization or the company is going to follow for the projects. And now he is involved, the BA is involved in communicating the requirements to the to the people who are going to develop or who are going to provide the solution for the requirement that what we have mentioned. And we are in the BA is involved in identifying the solution along with the development team. So like how PA is involved here. So when the development team is working on to implement a certain functionality related to a particular requirement, so they might have some queries like what needs to be done here, and what are the validations that we need to provide here, or what is the exact functionality that we are going to develop on this particular requirement, and do we have any confirmation. So whatever the queries that the development team is having when they are providing the solution, so BA is the business analyst is the person who is going to take up the questions, and as he is the person who has prepared the document, the requirements document, so he should have the complete knowledge on what on the particular requirement and its functionality. So he is going to provide the information or provide or solve the answers, give the answers to the queries that what the development team is having. So, and then the next phase, once the development is completed, then the BI is working with the QA team, like what type of testing scenarios that they need to test in order to validate whether the solution that has been given by the development team is working as per the requirement or not. So he is also working along with the QA team. So now, if you see a clear See clearly here is the BA is the person involved in each and every phase of the entire analysis, the life cycle that what we have described here. So if you say like if I'm a developer, so where my role actually comes here. So my role comes here in the sixth phase. That is, once we have the project scope should be defined and we need to have the requirements. And then once we got the requirements finalized, then we need to put those requirements in a documentation format, and that document need to be get it signed off. And that particular requirements that what you have prepared in the document, that document need to be shared to the development team. So here is the actual place of developers or the QA will come into the picture. So for the first three phases, they are not at involved. So coming to the QA phase. So QA phase will be involved again in communicating the requirements. That is, the BA is explaining about the document that what he has prepared on the requirements. So he is going to give the testing team like to understand this is the functionality that you are going to prepare the test cases, or you are going to test the requirement or the solution. So the QA role actually comes into picture in this particular phase. So what I'm trying to convey here is the business analyst role is involved in 90% of the development phase of the project in the entire SDLC, what we can call it as a software development lifecycle process. So he should be involved from this identifying the scope to till validating the solution that what they have been developed. So now these are nothing but whatever the like we have discussed about this particular phase, right? Define and scope business area. So the same here explaining in these slides, like what is the define and scope business area is going to do. So we are here, we're mentioning like we are defining or documenting the project scope. So that is what we have discussed in the define and scope business areas. So the same explained in the elicit requirements phase. So what we are going to do in the elicit requirement phase, and in the analyze and document requirements phase. So what we need, what the BA is going to do, and in the communicate requirement phase. So what we is the task of the BA. Similarly, in the identifying the solution and then verify the solution whether it meets the requirements or not. So this is whatever we discussed in the first slide, like in this particular slide, the same has been explained individually in the different slides here. You can just go through these slides so that you will see, you will get the definition of like what exactly each phase that we discussed about in the business analysis role. So is it clear till now? Any questions?
We understood.
Okay, fine. Then we'll move ahead and discuss about um, we just understand what is business analysis. So now, in order to perform this business analysis, we are having a certain type of techniques here. So those are called as business analysis techniques. So these are the different techniques that we are having to implement or to conduct the business analysis. So these are the different business analysis techniques. We have PESTLE, Heptalysis, MOST, SWOT, and CATWOE, and Bono six thinking hats, five whys, Moscow, VPEC-T, and SCRS. So does anyone hear about these business analysis techniques in your work experience that you have done till now? About these business analysis techniques like PESTLE, Heptalysis. Have you heard about these words?
I heard about SWOT only. SWOT.
Okay, fine, good. And any other techniques? Yeah. So the reason behind where we have all these set of techniques here is we will be having like clients from the different domains. Like one client or the organization might be working on the insurance domain, and one client will be working on the banking domain, or one organization is working on some digital marketing domain, and then one organization is working on some where you can say related to the healthcare industry. So based upon the client organization, we have defined a certain level of business analysis techniques that we can use to perform or to conduct the business analysis. So what we are going to conduct in the business analysis, here in the business analysis phase, we are going to understand what exactly the client business is, and then what is the structure of the client business, and what are the client business operations, and what is their strategy, and then what are the expecting solutions that what are the solutions that they're expecting for the product to have. So here, among these business analysis techniques, so the mostly used by many of the organization, or the techniques that suits to measure of the organization is, the first one is the most, and the second one is the SWOT, and the third one is the five whys, and the fourth one is the Moscow. So these are the four different business analysis techniques where many of the organizations will follow this technique, or few of the companies, say for example, if uh, say if Raghavendra is working on some ABC company, so in his company, whatever the projects they have developed till now, so they are using the business analysis technique called as a most. So they have used this particular technique in order to develop, in order to understand the client business. And say if the Bindu is a person, she is working on some other XYZ company, and in her company, they have used the Moscow technique. So again, it depends upon the individual organizations. So like whatever the techniques or the procedures they have already followed for the existing projects, so it doesn't mean like every organization should follow only one particular technique. So it depends upon the organization requirements, or the organization policies, whether they already have implemented this business analysis technique. So they want to implement the same for their upcoming projects or for the new projects as well. So the thing that what I want to convey here is like there won't be any specific technique defined for the company. It depends upon the organization needs and their practices. They will choose what is the best practice of the business analysis technique that they want to implement or already implemented for their existing projects. So they want to implement the same business analysis technique for the new projects as well. So now we will see what are all these different business analysis techniques. But before going to these techniques, I'll just explain uh, as I mentioned, like the most and the SWOT and the five whys and the Moscow. So these are the four business analysis techniques which plays a, I mean, 99% of the organizations will be following or using these four techniques. So now first we will concentrate on these four business analysis techniques, and then we will see about the rest of the techniques. So first we'll go with the most. So if you see here, what is the most business analysis technique? So the purpose of this technique is it can be used to perform an internal environmental analysis, whereby defining the attributes of the most to ensure that the project that you are working on is aligned to each of the four attributes that it has been defined. So what are the four attributes of the most? Here is the mission, the objectives, the strategies, and the tactics. So when you say like the business analysis technique the most, so where exactly this technique will be used? So this business analysis technique will be used in order to develop an say for example, what I can say, like if your organization wants to develop an intranet application, so they want to develop an application which should be used only for internal purpose. So in order to develop that particular intranet portal, so you can use this most business analysis technique, where it's, so the most is nothing but where we have the four attributes of the most. So we have the mission. So you are going to understand what is your company's mission, and then you are going to have the objectives of your company, and then what are the different strategies that your company is having, and then what are the different tactics that you need to perform in order to understand your client business is working on it. So this is the one of the technique, business analysis technique here. So the you may get the interview question on this, like I mean at nowhere in the interview process they will ask like whether you have how you have implemented the business analysis technique most to you in any of your projects. So they will just ask like what is the, do you know about most. So we can say like most is yeah, it's one of the business analysis techniques. So where we are going to use for the internal and environmental analysis, where the four attributes of the most will be the mission, and then the objectives and strategies followed by tactics. So mission is like where the business intends to go, and then what is the objectives, like the key goals and what which will help the to achieve the mission, and the strategies which are the options to moving forward, and the tactics where how to put those strategies that you have planned into actions. So this is the way where the most business analysis technique can be used. And then we have the one more technique which is very familiar and which will be used by most of the companies, is the SWOT, which is nothing but strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So these are the four attributes of the SWOT analysis technique. So the name itself, when you see the attributes of the SWOT, where the S stands for strengths, so we need to see what are the advantages, or you can say what are the strengths of the company, and then what is the currently it's done well, like and then what are its weaknesses. So what are the areas that need to be improved, and then what are the different opportunities that the organization is having in order to improve, uh, in order to make the goals to be achieved. And then the next attribute is threats, like what are the different obstacles that the organization is going to face when you are going to implement a certain new, uh, call it as a certain new requirement or certain new product here. So this particular technique is mostly used to identify the strengths and also the weaknesses of the particular company. So let's say, for example, if you take any of the insurance company, so for any insurance company, we will be seeing like what are the best insurance policies that they are having, and then what are the best features they are providing. And at the same time, we will also see like what are the disadvantages, or that this, or what are the weakness of this particular insurance policy. Like we can say like they are going to give the claims at a very late period, or they are only give the claims at only 50% of the claims that what we have filed. Or we can say like